Hi everybody, I think I'm live. I think I may even have body tracking. I'm Strider QED, welcome. Start your lunch early with me here. And my latest release, happy Halloween by the way, happy Halloween. I almost wore a costume, I kind of am. But anyway, this is about my latest release. It's called, sorry I gotta glance over here, let me close that. My latest piece, it's called St. Peter's Nets. It's part of a multi-piece thing I'm writing about Saint Teresa of Avila. Wrote a book called The Interior Castle, and I'm writing in the Interior Castle. She talks about it's a philosophy book, really, I guess, and a religious book, and there's these mansions in the castle, and so I'm writing a piece for each of the mansions, and this is one of those. It's in the series. Some have already been published out and are out. I should have called it the Nets of St. Peter. In fact, like as I look up at the LogicPro and the WAV file, it's called Nets of St. Peter, but I didn't. I called it St. Peter's Nets, and I'm like, damn. But anyway, came out today. Happy Halloween again. So let me play it for you, and then I want to talk about the creation process and some interesting stuff like that. But here it is from the beginning. Let me take you over to Logic Pro. Why would you want to look at me? So there you can see it's the three tracks. It's a synthesizer, Analog Dreams, which was really cool. You know, you play it and it adds these like overtones and echoes and delays. And so, here I'm going to stop it for a second and talk about the inspiration, because all my pieces have been different. I want to talk about that. That's something that is interesting. And I actually saw a guy at the Lensic in Santa Fe he was talking about it in a different capacity, and I think he's a writer, and he's a scientist. He was talking about, when he has a creative thought, how he's like, it's going to be the last creative thought I ever have. And that was interesting to me. It resonated with me. And the reason being, after I thought about it more, was because it's different every time. It's just so different. When I first started writing, you try and find a method. You try and find a pattern. And even if you do the exact same things, it doesn't work. It's the worst idea. And so you have to let it be organic. And I hate to say something like that. But it's very true. I think that's where the fear comes from. It's like, because it's different every time. So you're like, what the hey? Anyway, this one started off with that Analog Dreams piece. Let me just start that again, and I'm just going to play that. I'll solo that, let you hear that. So it's just that with the overtones, doom, 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 doom. And you can see how there's not a lot there. Dun, very, fifth, third, whatever, dun, trying, little tonal centers is what I was thinking when I wrote it. And I did a thing here, it's the theory of constraints, where I wrote this piece almost entirely. And again, this is not something I do all the time. I do try and use constraints consistently, but not like this. So again, let me shut up for just a second. You can see where I'm just like, they're little tonal centers. Not a lot of, melody or much going on. Just ding, dong, doom, where do I want to go? And so by writing this thing out, the whole 4 minutes or whatever it is, and then going in later to add, I would try not to change it. I would make myself say, no, you got to work with what's there. That's the idea. And the more you add constraints, a lot of times it frees you up. Anywho, so that was a thought there in the writing here, that Analog Dreams, which was just so, I love that thing. I mean, you could just, believe me, like I'm being very sparse, but if you go in, let me see if I can do this. Yeah, so. And I have even, if I was to bring up the controller for the synth, you could, there's all sorts of things you can change. It's really a neat thing. Also, I guess I should mention the violins and stuff I really like in Logic Pro. There's a library, not to be salesperson, Contact, and it's spelt weird, Contak, something weird, but you'd find it. And they're really awesome. They're really great. I have my complaints about them, but they're pretty damn good. Anyway, back to the piece. Like I said, I wrote that one thing. So let's listen to a violin. Let's listen to the beginning of where the violin comes in, It's pretty melodic, I think. Yeah, right away from the start. Just do-do-do-do-do. Because it's doing, like I said, the other thing was establishing these tonal centers. So it took the lead and says, I hear something, let me echo and play off it. But it's pretty melodic to start. Here where the supportive comes in was interesting. Right there. Pretty classic, pretty standard. But what was funny about that was it was actually in the violins. So I'm writing the melody to go with the analog, and I start doing that. I find myself writing that, and I go, immediately after a few measures or a few hours or whatever it was. I stop and say, I go, no, you're writing, harmony, you're writing accompaniment, stop. And so I pulled it down into the accompaniment, and it was just kind of classic. Like I said, this is a great release for Halloween. It was sort of classic, I don't even look. I'm so terrible about looking to see if there's any comments, if there's any viewers at all. I probably shouldn't. No, see, I shouldn't look. But that comes from... I do these TikTok streams, which are definitely, YouTube is Dr. Jekyll and TikTok is Mr. Hyde. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I pulled down the accompaniment down into, and said, no, you're writing accompaniment. Pull it down. What was I just going to check? Oh, to see if there was comments, to see if people were interested or had anything in particular they wanted to know. Yeah, so pulled that down. Like I said, it was classic. Like I said, a nice Halloween release. Sort of that classic, scariness thing. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, come on. And it changes in here because I was sort of like, I saw that. It was still a little too cliche. Still, but then here. So it definitely kind of went off a little bit. Now I'm probably following things in the melody and in the synth. And it sounds like it. Yeah, because it's filling in at this point. I'm using it just for harmony or whatever. But anyway, I want to keep this one short and sweet. In the I wrote software for a while, and there was a saying I learned in software called "kiss it." And it's keep it simple, stupid, and it's a great saying. And anyway, so let me, I don't think I've even played the whole piece. Let me play some of the ending. Let me see, what does the ending even like? Let's see. I should, yeah, that's funny, the cadence at the end. So let me play toward the end. Is if you were to go listen to my music, I'm anti-cadence, right? You'd be like, Jesus, dude, write a cadence. But there's a huge cadence at the end of this. Like I said, this is supposed to be part of it. I shouldn't say it's supposed to be. It is part of the ballet. It's supposed to be put to dance someday. But so I had in mind dancers and stuff for this. But so let me just play off here. I'll play off. You might let me show you the Logic Pro for a while. People might find that interesting. This is MIDI. So it was all MIDI. No actual wave files. Although it was played, it wasn't composed, dropping notes in the software, so much as it was played. Yeah, I mean, listen to that synth, isn't that great? And there's that big cadence. Right. Anyway, yeah, so I hope it was interesting. I hope you found it interesting. I'm going to use you as a guinea pig just a little bit and see. Yeah, that's pretty cool. This motion software is pretty neat. I think I'll test you with just one other thing before I let you go, assuming anything worked. Let's go down to my keyboard and see if that goes right. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, see, those you could play all day with those analog dreams. Let's see. Let me see. I always forget how to do this. Like I said, I'm using you as a guinea pig. Did the motion tracking stay on? Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I hope you found it interesting. If you want to make requests, leave comments or call in 867-5309. Man, I don't know how people do it. It's really hard not to look at yourself. I'm going to have to like close that. That would probably help. Anyway, have a great time. Let me try and close this the right way and see what goes on here. Happy Halloween. Like I said, I do these TikToks that are definitely, Mr. Hyde compared to this Dr. Jekyll. And Lord knows, with it being Halloween, there'll probably be one tonight. Have a great time. Woo woo.